Right, so at the end of the last lesson, you remember we created a basic web page called Dreamweaver in Dreamweaver. Notice over here on the right I've got an insert panel open. You've got to click it to expand it so that you can see all of these here. These allow you to just click and it adds the code for you. You just need to know which one to click. So I've deleted the heading, I've deleted the image, and I've deleted the paragraph. Because what we'd like to do is to organise things a little bit better. So the first thing I want to wrap everything in, the container that everything else will sit inside of, is the article. So if I click that, I don't need a class or an ID, so I can just click OK, and over here it puts the tags in, and it even puts a little bit of placeholder text. Don't need the placeholder text, so I want to delete that, and I'm going to split the tags. Alright, now this is where Dreamweaver comes into its own, because to style this, to make it look the way we want it to look, is quite easy, and it all happens over here in this CSS styles panel. If I hover over here, it tells me I can create a new CSS rule, which is what I want. Click OK, and instead of a class I want an HTML tag, and it's chose the right one, which is article. Click OK. Now what do we want to do with the article? Don't want to change the font. I do want a background colour just so that we can see it, so I'm just going to go for a light grey, and then I want, in this box category, this is where you set things like the width and the margins so that you can centre it up. So I'm going to make this 80% width, so this will be 80% of the web page, so it won't fill the whole browser, just most of it. I also want margins, so what I want is no margins on the top and the bottom, but I want automatic margins on the left and the right, and this is how you always center something. It must have a width. Once it has a width, you can set up the margins. So if I click apply, you can't quite see what's happening there because there's nothing inside the container to hold it open, but it is centered and it is grey. So if I click OK, now just to make it easier for us, I'm going to go into the style sheet. Here's what we've just done, and I'm going to add an extra rule to this so we can see more clearly what we're doing, and it's going to be min, short for minimum height, and your average monitor is about 1080 pixels tall. So if I add that and hit Ctrl S for save, click here, now you can see much more clearly. Now if you click live, it's even better because this is how it will look in the browser. There we go, 1080 pixels tall by 80% of the window wide. So we'll go back to our source code, and because this next one is a child, I'm going to hit tab, and I'm going to create two columns inside here, and I'm going to call them sections. So I'm going to click section. Now this time I do want to give it a class so that I can style it separately from the other sections. So I'm going to call this LS, which is short for left section, and click OK. And I'm going to type the words left section. Refresh the panel, and I'm going to go in there and create a new rule for that, and it's chosen the correct class name here. Click OK, and I'm going to give it a colour of red, and then in the box section I'm going to make this one 50%, so it will be 50% of the article container, not the whole web page. And so they sit next to each other, I need float left. And I also want a little bit of breathing room inside of the box. I don't want it up against the edges like it is there, so I'm going to put in there 1 EM, and 1 EM is about the size of your text, your default text in Word. So if I click apply, you can see that working. Now it looks like it's sitting beyond 50%, but it's fine. Click OK. Right, hit enter, refresh that again, and do a new section. This one I'm going to call RS for right section. Click OK. type right section, our new rule, that's correct, and once again I want green this time, just so you can see it's completely different from the left section. And again, box for width 50%, float left again. Even though it's sat on the right, you're floating it so it sits next to the item on the left. And 1 EM of padding, and then click apply and click OK. Now they're still not sitting next to each other because we need to add a rule, and that rule, this is the only one that's a little bit complicated because we have to hand type it. I'm going to put it right at the very top of my web page. I'm going to type asterisk, which is a wildcard. It basically means every single HTML tag in the web page should use this rule. It's not very often we do this, so it's box dash sizing colon border hyphen box. And what that does is it stops the padding that we added, this space here, being added to the width, making it over 50%, which is why they won't sit next to each other. Okay, so if we save that, now it's still not behaving in Dreamweaver because this is a slightly older version of Dreamweaver. However, if I now press F12 to preview it in the browser, it works. If I make it smaller, it carries on working. Right, so that's today's lesson.